So this is just bells and whistles trying to, as ever, put masking tape over a really fundamental root and branches sort of problem that they need to sort out.
People watching this and listening to this, Ben, might think, oh, this is all so technical, Northern Ireland Protocol, what's this all about? What really matters here is that Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom, is being treated entirely differently to England, Wales and Scotland because it's still under the authority, under the heel of the European Union.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, you know, when you step away from all the technicality and, you know, a lot of this is couched in technical wording because it makes it very difficult for the electorate to understand what's happening. But at its fundamental level, Northern Ireland is subject to foreign laws made by a foreign legislature and enforced by a foreign court. That, by any commonsensical layman on the Clapham omnibus, is abuse of their human rights. We've got an American gentleman on our left, and he will testify that the reason we had the Boston Tea Party was because it was taxation without representation. Yes. And that's what the protocol is. It's taxation without representation.
We've got to ask you about Partygate. You raised it. Dom, do you care about Partygate? Should Boris Johnson be subjected to a 4-hour grilling?
Well, I'm always up for Boris Johnson being grilled for 4 hours, you know, why not? But, I mean, look, you know, at one level, Partygate has consumed too much political airtime. It's a relatively small issue. But at another level, you know, these were the laws which brought the country to its economic knees. Yeah. These were the laws that deprived us of fundamental civil liberties, enforced draconian rules that meant that our loved ones had to die on their own. So these were laws that should have been respected by those that made them.
Do you think...
No, I think he should be held to account, actually.
I would rather he was being grilled, actually, at the moment, Ben, a little bit, on where he's making all his money at the moment.
So would I. He's made, I think, over £5 million within as many months since he left office. And a lot of the provenance of that money is not known. It comes from something called the Harvey Walker... A lot of it comes from the Harvey Walker Agency in New York. And that's been disclosed in the Register and Parliamentary Interests. But who are the Harvey Walker Agency? Who do they represent? Where does that money come from?
He's going to make a lot more, because, you know, Theresa May has made £2.5 million since she stood down as Prime Minister. Who would pay £2.5 million to go listen to Theresa May speak? Wouldn't you pay £2.5 million not to listen to her speak? Because she's so dull and boring.
No, I mean, look...
Boris is a terrific speaker, at least, and he's entertaining and amusing. She is not.
Well, you know, she was a prime minister, and that in itself will mean that people will want to hear what she's got to say. But I think the speed with which Boris Johnson has cashed in on a national and international disaster, which he oversaw, I think there are huge questions to be asked to who's paying him.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's developed an ideological obsession with Ukraine, which is perhaps understandable and justifiable. But you just wonder, you know, how much of that is linked into the speeches that he's making and the money that's coming across. And there should be a bright light shone on all of that.
100%.
We must ask you about Reform UK. Bright new party, you're going to fight every seat, virtually every seat at the next general election, 630. Will that obliterate UKIP, or will it obliterate the Tories, or both?
Well, UKIP is sadly a shadow of its former self. Yeah, and but my aim, and I'm absolutely unequivocal about it, and Richard and Nigel are on board for this, is to obliterate the Tory party. Right. There will be no surrender, there will be no deals, there will be no standing down in seats. We are going to take the fight to the Conservative Party. They are not Conservative, they are not pro-Brexit, and they're certainly not unionists, as we've just discussed.
But if you kill the Tory party, you might let in Keir Starmer, who's the man who wanted a second referendum.
Andrew, you can't reward failure with incumbency. Down that road lies massive moral hazard. You inculcate bad behaviour, and we've had too much of that. We've had too much of, oh, I know we're awful, but the other lot are even worse. We've got to put paid to that. We're going to boot them out. I mean, they've got a year and a half to get their act together. Liz Truss very nearly came right. She very nearly espoused and even delivered some, you know, remotely conservative policies. But this lot, they're not conservative. No one should bemoan the fact that the Conservative Party is going to be thumped in the next election. No Conservative should bemoan the fact that they're going to get thumped in the next election.